We'll get this going. Day one today. I am so happy and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you coming here, whether you're watching it here live with me today or if you are on replay. One second, just a little bit of housekeeping. Zoom has changed around today and I cannot open the doors for everybody to come in. So anyway, I'll just have to let them in one by one as they come. So, welcome everyone. I am so glad that you're here with me today, and I am just in this moment. This day has been magical from the start, from the moment I got up this morning to now, and we all come together. So, let's take a breath just for a few seconds. Let us settle in, and even for a few moments, just close your eyes, okay? Take a few moments even to close your eyes, just to arrive here in this moment, this beautiful collective energy that we all have. It doesn't matter what has happened up until this point today, and it doesn't matter what has went on throughout the last week, this last month. We are going to let it go, okay? Because what we're about to do together today, over the next hour, is going to be unlike anything that you have experienced before. So, for any of you that do not know me, my name is Melanie Breslin, and I am the founder of Elite Mindset Academy. You've seen from my little clip at the beginning how much my life has changed, and that needs to be updated even more. That needs to be updated probably a lot more than the clip at the beginning showed you where I was at going back probably to 2019. November, late 2019 is when my journey started with personal development. And it shifted so much for me, so much for me that I fell absolutely in love with this material. And today we're here. Today is day one of Manifest by Design. So it means that we're actually going to go deep. It's not just about gathering more surface information, but this is really going into the depths of who you are, what it is that you want. But day one is about finding out who you believe yourself to be now in this moment, now and today. And what I'm going to be teaching you today is not, as I said, it's not surface level. It is not motivation. I do not motivate. Motivation is very, very short lived. We can go to the events, we can get all hyped up, and then by Friday, Saturday, we're back to day one again. So this means that we are going into the underlying feelings that you have about yourself. And what I'm teaching is about transformation. Most definitely, it's not a quick fix. So if anyone here is for a quick fix, I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a quick fix, but it is step by step. It is about asking yourself who you are even before we start with the goals. So back in 2019, I was asked a question, and that's even from the video that I shared there now. You've seen that a lot of things look successful on the outside, and it wasn't inside. It was actually crumbling inside. And when someone said to me, "What's your goal?" I wanted to probably throttle them. I was going, I've just, in my mind, I had lost everything. In my mind, I was crumbling. I was broken. I could not think of a goal. And along my journey, I started to think I had to really understand what I thought of myself first. I just wanted happiness. I just wanted joy. Ideally, I thought finances would probably have changed everything, but finances, they were just a magnifier. If you didn't know who you were at the start, how would you know who you were when you had all the finances, or when you had the house, or you were traveling, or you had the lifestyle? So, over the next 3 days, we're going to really be open and we're really going to be vulnerable and we're really going to look at who we believe ourselves to be now. And I won't be asked anyone to share if you don't want to share, okay? But what I will ask you to do is be honest with yourself. I was playing a game for probably my whole adult life. I was playing a game of who I thought other people wanted me to be. I was this character. I was a character in work. I was a character at home. I was a character around my friends. And I was so tired of playing all these different characters with different masks on. No one knew the real me. And most definitely, I didn't even know the real me. I thought I had to be a certain way. I had to show up a certain way as a mother. I had to show up a certain way as a partner, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, as a boss, as a manager. I had to show up all these different ways. But the minute that I got to know me, and this is where we get caught up so much in when we talk about personal development, and we get caught up so much when we talk about mindset and what is mindset and what is personal development. And even for me, I didn't even know there was such a thing. I didn't even know we had a mind, let alone study it. I didn't even know. I just thought I was this body, this flesh and bones here to live a life and to live one day after the other and just get to the weekend and get a couple of weeks holidays in the summer and be born, get married, retire, and then die. But oh my goodness, life is so much more than that. And we're living our life on default. Exactly. Show up for yourself, Kaelin. And this is exactly each and every one of us. But we have to know who you are, first of all. I was showing up for everybody, absolutely everybody. And when I was told that I am the center of my own universe, I have to put myself first. I took a lot of offense at that because I had a child. And I thought, no, she is the center of my universe. My family, everything comes first. But I had to understand that I had to come first. And it wasn't being selfish. Most definitely not. It was being selfless. And when I say being selfless, I had to work on me to be the best version of me, to show up as being the best version as a mum, the best version as a business owner, the best version as a wife. But I had to put myself first because when I was running on empty, everyone else was getting a watered down version of me. So I love now saying that I fill my cup and everybody drinks of my saucer. Because when I'm the best version of me, everyone else gets the best version of me. So what we're going to do here together over the next hour is, as I said, it's going to be unlike anything that you've done before. We are going to get to understand who you are. And what I'm teaching, as I said, is not motivation. It is not just about gathering more information in your subconscious mind. This is where we go into transformation. We can read the books, okay? We can watch YouTube channels. We can, as I did for probably 5, 6 years, I studied The Secret and I studied it and I grabbed all the information and I read all the books. And I remember Lift and Think and Grow Rich. Where is it? It's here. It's not never too far away from me. But I remember someone saying the secret is in this book. The secret to getting what you desire, to doing what you want to do. And I read that book from back to cover, from front to cover, sorry. And I was going, I kept looking out for the word secret. I was going, there's nothing here. It's not telling me to do anything. But I wasn't aware that it came from your awareness and studying and shifting your understanding. And from the minute I started to read that book, right through to the end of it, I didn't find one part in it to tell me what to do. But it shifted who I believed I was. And it opened up my awareness and the concepts and the understanding that, right, am I making decisions? Am I taking action? Am I using my imagination? So it wasn't just in this one part in the book. And we can go through so many different books and we can read so many different articles and we can watch so many different events, but it's the application into your life. So this is what we're going to be doing. Okay? So we've got a little bit of housework before we even start this journey today. All right? A little bit of housekeeping. And what I recommend for you is to show up. Show up fully for yourself. You will all be getting the recordings. Anyone that's registered will get the recordings as soon as the recordings is done, and it'll be emailed to you. So for the full 3 days, show up for yourself. If you can't attend live, I would recommend that you watch the replay. Okay. And I want you to take action. Take action on the homework that I give you. And there will be homework, because when we start to write, whether it's even our goal or whether it is even an affirmation, when you start to write, that ignites your thought pattern, and that really draws your energy, draws your goals to you as well. Okay. So the action is that print it out, write it out, whatever you feel that is, resonates with you. Now, your logic mind is going to be playing havoc with yourself, because your logic mind is going to say, oh, I don't need to do that. I have something else to do. Your logic mind is going to be saying, just keep doing, you know what you're doing. You don't need to write out. You don't need to do homework. Just listen, you might get something out of it. But most definitely do it, because the new version of you at the end of these 3 days is going to be doing that. So if you have your journal with you, get your journal out now, okay? Or if not, go and grab a piece of paper, a pen, a pencil, because you're going to want to write today. I've got a few different steps throughout this today that you're going to be writing, okay? And there's a mosquito here with me today. And you're going to be writing it out. And it doesn't have to be every single word, but you're going to hear things that's going to resonate with you, all right? So whenever you hear things that resonates with you, just take the notes. Because today is the potential to be the first day of the rest of your life. I'm here in this moment because I went through a day like this. I'm not here to add more things to your schedule. I'm not here to make anything difficult for you. What I am here to do, I'm here to help you take things off your shoulders. I'm here to help you remove beliefs. I'm here to help you remove habits. And I'm here to help you shift the behaviors that don't serve you. Because every single thing that you're doing now in your life is a direct reflection of what's going on in here. Everything. And this is where I want to look at the truth about where you're at now at the moment. So I want to ask you something. And the thing that I want to ask you is, whenever you woke up this morning, okay, how did you feel? Not the answer that you give to everyone whenever they ask, how are you? Oh, I'm great, I'm amazing. Or you're speaking it into existence. The real answer. I want you to answer the real answer. This takes being vulnerable. Being honest with yourself first and foremost. Were you tired? Were you tired before even the day began? Did your mind start running on default before your feet even hit the floor? Did you reach for your phone first of all? Did you let the whole outside world into your life before you even got out of your bed? Did you feel maybe that quiet voice niggling at you that something isn't quite right? Did you worry about something that was happening today, next week, next month? Or maybe you had a wee bit of worry or doubt about something that's already happened. So if your answer is yes to any of this, okay, I want you to know something, that this is not a flaw. This feeling that you have is not a flaw. You woke up exhausted. Yeah, you can restart it any day, Kaylin. You can restart your day at any time. But I want you to really understand that this feeling is not a flaw. It's not weakness. It's not burnout. It's just feedback. Okay? It's feedback, because we can wake up in the morning and think, I'm doing too much. I'm so stressed. This is happening. That's happening. It's just feedback. It's feedback that the life that you're living isn't aligned with the life that you're meant to be living. And that's the gap between where you maybe were, okay, and where you're meant to be. And that gap, we talk about the gap in a lot of the different programs that we do, like the no one doing gap, okay? The gap has a name, and it's caused, for me, it would be like you're manifesting on default just by what you're doing, showing up, getting the same thing, all right? From old programming. So many people jump They jump from, setting a goal and trying to make it happen and trying to go from where they're at now at this present moment in time straight into the new results. They could maybe start at the likes of January. They set a New Year's resolution, they set an intention, and then they try and make it happen. And they try and make it happen from their old beliefs, their old behaviors of who they believe themselves to be, and then they get exhausted. And this is sometimes you get short term success, okay? But the internal programming is still what we believe ourselves to be, and it will default back to that old programming time and time and time again. So instead of just saying that you want A, B, or C and jumping in and trying to make it happen, we have to start with our thoughts. So we start with our thoughts first of all. And what do we think? What do we think of ourselves? What do we think on a daily basis? Being aware of those thoughts. Then we go into the feelings. That's it. If you feel exhausted every day, that's you living not in alignment with the life that you're meant to be living. So you're manifesting by default. And whenever I'm talking about manifesting by design, here's what most people don't understand. We're always manifesting. Your magnet is never switched off. It is never switched off. So when we have the realization that we're always every single day, every single moment, every single second, without exception, but we're manifesting on the most dominating thought that we are having, the most dominating feeling. So the question's not whether you're manifesting. The question's, right, are you doing it consciously by design, or are you doing it by default? So most people, and I was one of them, and even looking back on that video at the start of the lesson, I was living my life by default. I was changing all the surface level. I had to outside, I had the cars, the business, the life, and it all looked great. It really genuinely all looked great. And I thought, this is who I'm meant to be. And I'm meant to work harder. And I'm meant to put the graft in. And I'm meant to come to burnout. And I have to juggle a million things. I have to be the best wife, the best mommy, the best businesswoman. But oh my goodness, that was on default. As I said, I was changing everything surface level, but I wasn't going into the depths of who I was. And to be completely honest, I was afraid. I was really, really, really afraid of what I didn't know. I was afraid of change, of what was going to happen if I changed. I was afraid to fail. I was afraid in case it didn't work. And then there's so many of us that get caught up in the fear of the unknown, especially even with personal development. I remember at the start of my journey, I was dipping in and dipping out of personal development. And I didn't really know overly well what it was. As I said, I was watching The Secret for years and years, but I didn't even realize that my first mentor, Bob Proctor, provided a program for me to follow step by step. I didn't even realize that there was consultants and mentors like I am now. I've actually become one of those people, but I didn't even realize that that was possible. To have someone to coach me through and understand who I actually was, how my mind was working. So I was so afraid at that time that I ended up absolutely being on my kitchen floor asking God for there has to be a better way to live. So I see a lot of people afraid because they don't understand. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what manifestation was. I didn't even know the word existed. People may know about the law of attraction. People may know about manifestation. People may know about, vibrations and the universal laws, but they don't understand it. And I've spent the previous 7 years dedicating my life to this material. And I will spend the rest of my life dedicating that to helping everyone change the way they believe about themselves. So as I said, people may know about this, but they don't understand it. If you apply it into your life, your results will change in a millisecond. Absolutely. I went from being broken on my kitchen floor to thinking I lost everything to living the life of my dreams and desires now by design. My life, I'm sitting here in the south of France at the moment. I spend my time between Manhattan, the south of France, and back home, that always will be home in Ireland. But that was a design that I wrote out. I decided who I was going to be. I decided how I wanted to express myself, how I wanted to show up, but most importantly, I decided how I wanted to feel inside. And I go back to my very first goal. My very first goal was happiness. And when someone said to me, you must want a business, a house, a car, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy because that felt so far removed from who I was at that time. That heaviness, that knot within me, being exhausted, lying wakened every single night, worried, fear, oh my goodness, crumbling inside, putting a mask on and a smile on and pretending everything was great. And when the thoughts came to me, really dark thoughts that it was better if I wasn't here, that's when I thought something has to change. Something has to be a better way to live. And that's how the path was shown for me. And now I'm that guiding light for each and every one of you now to take that path. So when I see people afraid and afraid of actually taking a step, I'm thinking, what happens if it does work out? So most of us are waking up every single morning and we're replaying the same day that we had the day before or the previous day, or we're living in something that happened a couple of years ago. So instead of thinking of what happened last weekend, what we do is, what do we want to happen? Instead of pulling from the old story, the old stories that are in our memory, and they're only in our mind. Our memory is only in our mind. So many of us are operating from the same old identity. And then we're wondering why nothing changes. It's like press and play. And I know we have an amazing actor on here today. It's like press and play on the same film every single morning and expecting a different ending. The ending doesn't change until you change the script. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing here today. We go into the script, okay? And we change the story. And then we watch it play out in reality. So the script up until this point, this is why I say I am very, very old school. I'm still paper and pencil. And I love it. Although, of course, the technology is fantastic, but I do love my paper and pencil and my books and my journals. And I have got stacks of them, even from the start of my journey. I have stacks and stacks of journals. And when I'm journaling, I have journals for whenever I'm going through a transition, that's maybe feeling something, maybe going through a grief or going through certain things, and I put it on paper because I get it out of my physical. So I want to introduce you to probably one of the most important concepts that you will ever learn, okay? Ever learn. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. And if you can take that away from today, it's not blame, it is not judgment, it's most definitely not criticism. All your results, every single one of them, your relationships, your finances, right down to your health, your energy, even the way people treat you, is all a direct reflection of one thing: the concept that you hold of yourself. And that was a really, really hard pill for me to swallow. Who you believe yourself to be. It was such a hard pill for me. I took complete offense when I heard this for the very first time. How dare someone say that it's my fault? I had lost the business. I had went through bankruptcy. I had went through years of infertility treatment. I had the most horrendous lessons in different relationships. But In all honesty, I was coming from my awareness. Now, where I'm at now, I can look back and I can join all the dots together. I can see where things were drawn into my life because who I believe myself to be. Maybe it was my unworthiness, maybe it was my lack of confidence, maybe it was a different situation showed up in my life. So when you're aware of a situation, it is when you can actually change it. So if you're feeling this triggering you in any way at all, and it's not meant to, but if you are, that's actually a really good sign. Because if that resonated with you, it means that you can actually change it. Because so many things, when I stepped away from myself and thought, right, well, that is resonating with me there, that's triggering me. Why is that triggering me? Because if life is a reflection, if life is a mirror of me, if I am seeing other people and seeing in them what I believe about me, okay, what do I need to change about me? And it's not blame. This is one thing that I will never put pressure or put blame or judgment on another. This is coming from pure love, absolutely pure love. And Neville Goddard said it the best way. And Neville, from the Power of Awareness, my little book is falling apart. But the Power of Awareness is such a great book, an absolutely great book, a great book. Absolutely no problem, Keelan. The recordings will be up later on today. So Neville Goddard said it best: man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. So, in other words, nothing is happening to you. Absolutely nothing's happening to you. Everything is happening through you, as you, and actually for you. So, if everything is happening for you through the lens of your identity, through the filter of your beliefs, through the stories that you have been telling yourself, probably most of those stories have been written before you were even 7 years old. So, the identity that you have of yourself, it's not stories that you've told yourself, it's stories that you've maybe taken on board. So, up until 7 years old, your subconscious mind is completely open. Completely open. Your conscious mind, your ability to reject isn't even there. It doesn't form until between 7 and 9 years old. That's when children accept everything you tell them up until that time. And then they go through that 9 year gap, that 9 year stretch, and then they start deciding for themselves what they want to do, how they want to do it. I have 11-year-old and we're still not even through it yet. But this is the key understanding, is that your program, it hasn't been built by choice at all. It has been built from the outside environment. So that filter of your beliefs, the data that's running your life right now, the patterns, the habits, the automatic reactions that we have, and we can have it. You hear people saying that's just who I am. No, it's not. It's all coming from the habits and beliefs and the programs that's playing in the background. As most of that data has been written in your childhood by people, parents, caregivers, teachers who were doing their best, but they weren't aware. It's been written by experiences that shaped you before you had even words to understand them, by things that you have seen. The book is The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. If you can, there we go. And it's the Awakened Imaginations with it as well. Powerful, powerful book. So whenever we look at what or how our program has been written, we think that we don't have a choice. We think that it's just who we are. But you have a choice. The world has handed you an identity. The world around you and your circumstances has clothed you in this identity. And you've wore it because you didn't know that you had a choice. I honestly never realized that I had a choice. I was loving day to day, literally loving every single moment. showing up, doing the same thing day in, day out, and having no idea that I was the master. But you all have a choice. Every single one of you have a choice. And you've always had a choice. And today we're going to start making that choice. So we're going to get into a little journaling exercise today, first of all. Okay? And that's what I always say, do the work. Your mind will say, it's okay, I'll just listen. Oh, it's okay, I can't do that. It'll give you so many different excuses. But it's only in the application of the work that things start to shift. Okay? So if you grab your notebook and your pencil or pen, what I'm going to ask you to do now, just focus on this here for the next, probably the next, another half hour. Okay? I want you to really focus on it. And this is where the journaling exercise really gets your thought process going. So what we're going to do something powerful together. And this is not a thinking exercise. So I don't want you to overthink it, okay? At all. Because this is what we can do. The human part of us can actually overthink a lot of things. So I want you just to let it flow. This is more about feeling. So I want you to write really quickly whatever comes to your mind, first of all. Don't edit yourself. Don't scribble it out and say it doesn't sound right. Don't edit, just let it flow. All right? Don't allow your conscious mind to step in here at all. Do not filter it. Write whatever comes first. So the first thing I want you to think about, and we'll go a few moments as well, I want you to write out what's a reoccurring story that you tell yourself about why you haven't created the life that you want. Just write it out. Honestly, no filter. This is for you, no one else. What just comes to your mind first of all? What's a story that keeps coming up? I can't because, and then let it flow. Because what? Because why? I'm not going to ask you to share it or anything, just let it flow. What's a story that's playing there in the background? Scribble it down. Okay. Now, if you can't think anything, that's all right. That's okay as well. So now I want you to ask that story. I can't because. Where did that story come from? Who first told you that story? Or actually, whose behavior taught you it? Who else does this? Where else have you seen this show up in your life? So where did that story come from? Whether it's health, wealth, whether it's situations and circumstances, where did they come from? Just take a few moments and just let it come first of all, flow to you and through you. Okay? What has it actually cost you to carry this story? Maybe in your relationships, maybe in your body, your confidence, your joy. I remember the story I told myself that I wasn't confident, that I was shy, I was the youngest in the family, I was always seen but never heard. It cost me my voice. The story that I told myself my entire life. I could not communicate. I stuttered, I stammered. I would not have even thought about speaking on camera. I was terrified in case I made a mistake. If I was reading, I would go over the page and over the page and over the page. And I was terrified in case I got something wrong. But that was the cost, it was to me, of the conversation that I had in my head. And it wasn't even mine. It wasn't even mine, it was other people said it. I wasn't. And internally, I was going, I'm not like that. So I had to rewrite it. And this is where I want you just to be open and honest with yourself. You may not even be aware. Something may not have even come to you yet. But throughout the rest of the day, something might pop up. Keep your journal handy and just jot it down. Because we'll be taking this through the next 2 days. This is for you and your journey. Everyone's journey is individual. Okay? Everyone's journey is individual. So before the world told you who you were going to be, okay? Go back to the child, whether it was the 10-year-old version of you or whether it was the 5, 7-year-old version of you. Who were you before the world told you who you had to be? Even if she feels so distant now, what did she believe was possible? Remember that you were that child. Did you want to be a ballerina? Maybe the astronaut? Saying and thinking anything was possible? Dancing around? Free spirit? Beautiful. That's it. That's exactly who you are. So whenever I really felt that really resonates with me. Because the world tells you you have to be a certain way. I just want you to look at what you wrote. Just right there. That's the work. That is what we are changing. Because you can't change something that you're not aware of. And that there is what has been playing in the background of who you believed yourself to be. That's been playing in the background on default, whether it is that you're not good enough, whether it is that you're not educated, whether it's that you are, put into a box by society, whether it is you are, whether you're certain that you want something or you don't want something, it doesn't matter. It's what you have been telling yourself. It can be changed. So before we can even start to look at a goal, and this is why we're not even looking at goals today, excuse me, we're not even looking at where we want to be or the lifestyles or anything like that yet today. What we're going to look at is who we believe ourselves. What are we telling ourselves? So the moment that we're aware of this program now, the moment that we're aware of what we are working with, and we see the data is there, you'd never fall through in a goal. And that's okay because we jump straight into the goal sometimes. And I'm going to be showing you this today. And it'll probably resonate with you as well of why you've never followed through with the goal. Because you've jumped from trying to change the circumstances instead of going onto the cause. So we are the cause, the universal law of cause and effect. The results are the effect. So this is where awareness without action is just pain. That's it. So you're aware that you've never followed through with the goal. From here on in, we're going to be taking that. We're going to be shifting that. Or you're going to be achieving your goals now. And that pain can be so deepening. I spent so many years lying awake, worrying, like doubting, blaming myself, blaming other people. But the moment that I became aware that I could actually change who I believe myself to be the version of me, and the version of me who I am now, every version of me has been phenomenal. I love, I bless, and I release every single version of me, the past versions. And they've been necessary for me to be who I am now, for me to get to where I'm at now. Every single version. Even though sometimes I have to give a certain one a little bit more of a love, but they have been so necessary for who I am now. But the version of me sitting here right now is not the version who I'm going to be next year or 10 years' time, because I'm always evolving, I'm always upgrading, and I am continually working on myself. Now, the work is not hard. This is just who I am now. Yes, it took a lot of being vulnerable with myself, calling myself out on my BS on a continuous basis. But when I did that, I started to level up. So now we do something with what we've just uncovered, okay? We do something with what you've just literally uncovered there now. I want you to take that story that you wrote and the prompt one, the recurring one, what you believe, what keeps coming up for you. And I want you to rewrite that today. Now, this is the work. Again, your conscious mind could turn around, your logic turn around and say, I don't need to do that. It's okay, I think it. I'm thinking it. I don't need to do it. But we don't do it with toxic positivity, okay? Not with false affirmations. Because we can affirm something, but if we don't actually believe it, it's pointless. Because there's a lot of toxic positivity out there. And I see it happening a lot. Trying to just be happy, trying to suppress it, just do it, just be that person. And then you're suppressing and it comes out through, oh my goodness, makes things so much worse. Because I tried it. Okay? Tried to suppress my negative feelings, tried to be happy all the time, and it does not work, guys. So, what we're doing here, okay, we're going for a complete transformation. It's about feeling all the feelings. It's about being aware of all the feelings. It's about understanding every single part of who we actually are. And the truth, pardon me, the truth of who you actually are underneath all that conditioning that you have been given. So the conditioning, that's it. How did I rise above it? I rose above it first and foremost by being on my kitchen floor and asking for guidance. And I started to study myself. I got my very first mentor. And my very first mentor was Bob Proctor. And I started to study and I started to call myself out. Where was my identity? What was my programming? Who did I believe myself to be? And that was 7 years ago. And every single step of the way, I fell in love so much with this material that I've dedicated my life now to helping each and every person that I possibly can get to where they want to be. So let's think about it for a minute. Okay? Just an example of, like, say if you were somebody who had the consciousness, okay, now this is who I was. I had the consciousness that I was a failure because I had closed businesses, I had went through breakdowns, I had went through every step of that way. So if I had the consciousness of failure, and I believed that I had failed. So say maybe in your business or your parenting or in your relationships, and you find this idea of failure keeps showing up in life. Anytime that you want to do something, you remember, oh, I'm not good at that. Or I failed at that the last time. What's happening is you're resisting the idea of success. So by hanging on to the idea of failure or living in the past, what's happening there is that we're just going to keep repeating that. Same day, over and over and over and over again. Same film, expecting a different ending. But if you have the new idea of success, the idea of failure hanging around, what's the most dominating thought? What we have to do is we have to shift our focus onto success. Shifting our focus straight onto success. Past has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the future whatsoever. But I was living in my past for a long time. I had brought up previous relationships. I had brought up different failures in business, continually bringing up so much so I had to focus on the future. I had to focus on what I wanted. I had to focus on where I was going. So who am I now? The concept of who I believed I was now is creating my future now, or my results now. So I have to shift that. And I shifted it by studying, literally studying myself. I started giving myself more understandings about, right, I'm getting into this creative plane. So many people asked a question, and sometimes they ask the question of, right, how do you create it? How do you get into the future? How do you get there? But it's not about how, it's about who. Who do you have to be to get there? Who do you have to believe yourself to be to get there? That's all you have to ask yourself. Who do you have to be? So what we do, we focus on, when something negative is happening, we focus on the positive. We focus on the new story. We focus on, so say your old story is that I'm always overwhelmed. Okay, there's never enough time. We can shift to a new identity. New identity statements would be the likes of, instead of there's never enough time, is I'm a woman who creates from clarity and ease. I have everything I need exactly when I need it. Or if your old story could be, I have to work hard to earn my place. I believed that's one of the ones for me. I believed I had to work really hard. I believed that I started probably about 3 a.m. in the morning, and my husband was starting, we were both in the same hospitality industry, and we would have been passing each other in the door. We would have been high fiving each other, but I thought that was success. It wasn't at all, it was burnout. So, from thinking that I had to work really hard, my new identity statement was I'm natural, magnetic. My presence creates value. I receive with grace. Instead of just being working hard. That's it, working hard, not smart. So there's such a better way to live. There's such a better way to start working smarter by studying yourself, switching your magnet on. I went from burnout. I went from working from 3 a.m. to probably 3 p.m. Then passed my husband the door, then went home then and was just present with my daughter, working with her until maybe got to my bed about 10, 11 p.m. and then doing the same thing. It was like Groundhog Day, doing the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out, and not getting even my head above water. Now I've created my business to work for me. I've created my business that I can travel anywhere, that I can go anywhere, I can do anything. I can be in any country in the world, and my business is still successful. So when we shift our belief to how do you want to live your life? How do you want your business to be? Not by what this society has told you your business has to be. So I know my present creates value now. And you can create as many statements as you want, but these need to be personal to you because your story is personal to you. My story may resonate with you. And I'm telling you, these are not wishes. These are declarations. Declarations of who you're choosing to become. And who you are now at the moment, give her a massive hug. Give her as much love as you possibly can. But you can decide right now. Before we close off today, I want you to ask you one more thing, okay? I want you to make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not I'll try, but an irrevocable committed decision for yourself. The kind that your paradigm, your old programming cannot talk you out of. It's the kind that changes the whole trajectory of your life from this moment forward. Because I always wanted more, but it got to the stage that if you talk about God, universe, whatever you believe to be true for yourself, but I kept wanting more and wanting more and wanting more, but I didn't take the action. So what happened was then I was literally pushed, I was forced to do more. So I want you to write down, okay, and just write down your name, make the irrevocable committed decision. Today I am no longer available for. What are you no longer available for? Playing small. You're no longer available for the old story that has been going on in your head. And from this day forward, I am a woman or man who, and then just write it out, say it out loud. What are you available for? And the minute that you say it out loud, what happens is your nervous system, it hears it. Because here's what I know to be true. The moment that you make a real decision, the moment that you make a real committed, irrevocable decision, God, universe, source, we all have different beliefs. It begins to reorganize around it. Doors open. People appears. Opportunities arrive that you probably thought was never possible. Not because of luck. Okay? Most definitely not because of luck. But because you shifted. And you shifted your belief. And the minute that you shift your belief, everything around you shifts too. So if we come back into your broadcasting station, Okay, I am my broadcasting station, but I'm also my receiving station. So if I'm broadcasting on a vibration, we can go into all the scientific part of it about vibrations and frequencies, but internally it starts with your thought. It starts with the data that you're telling yourself. So if you're telling yourself that you're not capable of, that you're always late, that you're not, it's not possible for you, you're not worthy, that's what the frequency that you're vibrating at. And it's like changing the radio station. We want to change the radio station. So this is done through spaced repetition. Spaced repetition of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Sometimes that you think that you're going absolutely crazy. You get into the delusion. So I started doing a lot of mirror work. I started affirming to myself. And when I talk about mirror work, it would be looking at myself, telling myself who I am, that I am confident, that I am expressing myself effectively, that I am a powerful leader, that I am the best in my field. And even when I didn't believe it at the beginning, I felt so uncomfortable. I felt so, oh my goodness, so embarrassed. And now I can say it openly with grace because I know that's who I truly am. So when you're asking yourself, you're making an irrevocable, committed decision. And it's not just saying, oh, I'm going to do it, but it's really, truly making that from this moment forward that you are not available for anything that does not serve you. And from this moment forward, who are you? You are the woman or man from this moment forward who could be putting themselves first, could be making decisions sharply, could be studying themselves, whatever that is for you. Because when you're telling yourself this over and over and over and over and over again, your subconscious mind will believe it. Now, your conscious mind has the ability to accept and to reject and to the choice, but your subconscious mind will only accept what you feed it with emotion. And I'm not saying, just telling yourself all day that you're happy, because that would never have worked for me. It is really sitting with yourself, asking yourself, listening to your inner voice. What brings you fulfillment? So you have done something really extraordinary today. You've looked at your old stories. It may have been uncomfortable, and that's okay. We grow when we're uncomfortable. We grow when we're going through adversity. We grow whenever shifts are happening. You didn't run from them. You actually met them. Okay? You actually met them. And then you began to rewrite them. So this is the act of a person who's ready. So tonight I want you to do another thing for me, okay? So as you fall asleep tonight, I want you to feel the feeling of what it is that you're wishing for. Not the wanting, not what you want, but what's the wish fulfilled? The having of it. And this is what Neville would have spoke about before, the wish fulfilled. I want you to let your imagination become the preview of your new life. And when we come back here tomorrow, okay, tomorrow on day 2, we're going to go into the tools, the techniques, the energy, the practices that really make this all real for you. Really make this all real and lasting. So I want you to come ready to receive, okay? And that's fine. That's okay. So you're feeling that you've that hard time now staying focused. Show up now for these 3 days. Make that irrevocable committed decision. It could be from this day forward, I am the person who is showing up. I am the person who is focused. I am the person. And when you're making these and putting it in writing, okay, you're putting it in writing, you are making this decision for you. It's not for anyone else. So I want you to come ready tomorrow, ready to receive, ready to get that image, that desire. Really ignite that imagination of what it is. If you could have, if you could be, if you could do anything that you desire in this world, what would it be? So many people are walking around and they don't even know what they want. I didn't know what I wanted. I had no idea what I wanted. And as time went on, as I started to study myself, I found that I felt the happiness, the lightness, the understanding who I was. I felt that shift so quickly. And then I thought, right, well, if I could have anything, How do I want to live my life? And if you have so many wants, that's brilliant. Put them on paper, write them down, and you will find a lot of them is interlinking with each other. So when I say, what is it that you want? If it's physical things, I always recommend a financial goal, because with the financial goal, you can get the physical things. If it's a lifestyle, is it a relocation? Is it a home? Is it a company? Is it a job? What is it? Do you want to be like my husband today just launched his book? And that was one of the stories that he read out of one of his wants a few years ago. And now he's an author. And it's the most beautiful book. So when you're putting it out, write it all down on a piece of paper. Come tomorrow with your wants, your desires, and then we can go through them together. We can go through them together. So the minute that you know, and if you don't have any wants, that's fine. You know how you want to live your life. You know the lifestyle that you would like. Now, the lifestyle that I have now, it was not even in my awareness 5 years ago. I didn't think it was not even possible for me 5 years ago. But what we do, we go as far as your imagination will allow you today. And as far as you can go with your imagination today, when you get what it is that you desire, your imagination will be stretched again. And then we go as far as that imagination will take us. So from your present results now, you can only go as far as your imagination. That's where your limitation is. And as I always say, if I'm speaking to any of my clients, I always say, right, what is the most money you've ever earned? And it's something that Bob would have actually spoke about. And it doesn't matter to me what the amount of money is. And if you've got a program about money, okay, we need to shift that. But think about the most money that you have ever earned in a year. You'll only buy a house, go on holiday, have lifestyle experiences compared to that amount of money. So that's a limitation that you have in your head. We shift that limitation because all and everything is possible. You don't need to know how. You just need to know who you need to be. So from myself, that I could not have even put food on the table. I had went bankrupt, we had closed businesses, and even for me to explain to you the situation that I was in, I literally couldn't express it in words. But I was at the rock bottom. I thought I was in rock bottom. But that rock bottom was literally for me now, a trampoline to expand me to where I'm at now. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Absolutely anybody. So the key understanding here is, right, what is it that you want? Get it on paper, write it down. The limitations are only created in your mind. That is only where they're at. So now, where I want to be in probably the next year, and I've just spent 2 years living in Manhattan, absolutely adore it. We live on Upper East Side. I've moved here now to the south of France. I want to have the ability to live where I want to live, when I want to live there, and just feel into it. The old me had so many limitations. The new me has got very little limitations. But then as I am shifting to my next level, there will be limitations comes up for me to grow and to stretch over. So we're always shifting, okay? At the moment, we're going to shift your programming from where it's at now to who you believe yourself to be the version of you that comes tomorrow with what it is that they want. And then I'm going to show you how to get that, okay? So this is just the beginning. I want to thank each and every one of you for your energy and your presence today, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have the most beautiful rest of your day. My absolute pleasure. Take care.